Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coaching Chats. We have everyone here today, Adam, Jules, and Simon. Today, we're going to have a chat about overhead pressing later on. Simon's got a minute and a half of talking based on this challenge. Jules is going to cover some sport, and Adam actually did watch a movie. But to get us all started with the best part of the show, we're going to start off with the riddle. And the riddle is this. Boys, are you ready for the riddle?
Always.
Yeah.
What has roots that nobody sees, is taller than
Family tree.
trees, yet never grows?
Yeah, it never grows.
What has roots that nobody sees, is taller than trees, yet never grows?
Telephone pylon.
You what?
Telephone pylon.
Well, no, but that's a good answer. No, that's not it, though.
That's not a bad answer, actually.
If it jogs any of your memories, if any of you have read Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or anything like that, it's a direct steal from The Hobbit, from when Bilbo Baggins is talking to Smeagol to get the ring. It is
no
one
idea.
of the three
I've watched
riddles that he had to pass to exit the cave without Smeagol killing him.
No.
That is the
I've
riddle
watched.
number one.
At least we won't die.
I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it either.
So, did you watch Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, but I don't remember that sort of stuff.
Oh, well, I do. I'm a bit of a Lord of the Rings geek, so I love all that stuff. I pretty much could have told you the riddle answer off the top of my head, and I don't know anything. All right, anyway, how's everyone's week's been? Simon, how have you been?
Very good.
Excellent. Doesn't want to cut into his minute and a half of speaking time. Jules, how are you, mate?
Good. Always good.
Excellent. Everyone's very chatty today. And Adam, give us a bit more description on how you've been.
I've been fantastic. I got my boot off on Friday last week. Except now I'm like walking much in my left calf. My calf has also substantially increased in size in one day. From one day of just walking around. I'm not sure of the exact science behind that. I assume it's just because it's like actually contracting. The next day, I actually had some resemblance of a calf, so I think I've already passed Jules in calf mass. What else? Basketball over the weekend, coaching, watching. It was good.
Oh, excellent. What a great response. Finally,
How was your week, Ryan?
Last week was a bit of a bugger, actually, to be honest. I had a bit of a crap week. What came first?
Where to start?
Where to start? Last week, did I put my rib out as well? Or was that the week before? I think that was the week before. But anyway,
A week before.
last week I wasn't getting a lot of good sleep for some reason, even though I was getting a lot of sleep. Not getting a lot of good sleep. But resulted on Thursday me filling up my car with the wrong fuel. Put the old petrol in the diesel can, and away we went. Filled up 30 litres of thing in the prime tank. Luckily, it's got two tanks, so I managed to drain the tank. Well, Dad came up and drained the tank because he had only just passed Perth. And as I called him going, hey, this is going to fuck your car, eh? He went, nah, just use the other tank, but I'll come and drain it. It's quite a simple process. There's a bung at the bottom.
Oh. I
Pull
thought
it
you were going
out.
to siphon it.
Nah, there's just at the bottom of most of your petrol tanks, there's a bung that you can pull out, and all of it will just come out. So if anyone fills up their car with the wrong fuel, just have a look under. Most of the time, there'll be a cap there that you can pull out, and it will come out. Just make sure you got something to catch the fuel with, because you don't want fuel going everywhere, because that's a big bad. But like, it's that easy. So you see all those movies where people are trying to steal like fuel from bloody like siphoning it out of the hose pipe. They're idiots. It's heaps harder, heaps less safe, and makes probably more mess. So that's a top tip for everyone today. Jules, how was last week for you, mate?
It was good. Yeah. What was interesting? It was pretty stock standard, actually. Things are going good at the gym. Last week of the old program. Today's first day of the new program. So that's exciting stuff. Other than that, business as usual.
It's a bit of a go-getter. I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but it was a bit of a go-getter this morning. Me and Adam did it. The biceps at the end.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be good. I like it.
There's a fair bit. Also, there's a poll up on Facebook right now asking if Adam has a nipple piercing, because I think I spied one when I was filming him doing a thing. So everyone go on Instagram and vote yes or no if you think Adam has a nip piercing. Now, Simon, would you like to have your 90 seconds now or later?
I don't care when it is.
Give it to him now. He's ready.
He's ready. All right, here we go. Simon, are you ready? Has someone got a phone? Someone get a timer up.
I'll get my timer up. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
No. So you guys don't know this, but I've actually prepared a statement.
Oh, shit.
I don't know if this is good or bad.
No.
Today, Monday the 21st at 12:39 will be my last minute and whatever with Simon's segment. Over the last week, I've discussed with my management team in depth about this, which I do not 100% believe in this project. As a private person, this is a big commitment I do not enjoy doing. To all our subscribers, I hope you understand. If you wish to delve into my mind, I'm available to catch up for a beer or even to work out together. I will continue to take part in FSC topical discussions for now and the immediate future, as long as they are of my worth.
You still have 35 seconds.
Well, to sign off, I'll give you a little bit about my weekend. So I went the 21st with the swimmer. I felt so old. Like, I used to swim with this kid when he was 13 and I on my 33, so I would have been 24 at the time. So a bit of an age difference. And then this morning I also equaled my bench with a 115 going to the last week in the current program. So that is it from me for this segment. There will be no more segments of this. So apologies and goodbye.
Well, that's really good. Now he's just actually going to have to talk during like normal conversations. Well, Simon, thank you for your statement. I think it was very good.
Can I see that piece of paper? Because I'm feeling that.
Writing on the piece of paper, or just make it up as you went along?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! There's that lefty.
I was going to do a blank piece of paper, but I wrote it down to be funny.
It wasn't funny. It was sad.
Well, it's a sad, sad day, but Simon, we respect your wishes, and we'll continue on from there. Guys, I just want a quick
What are you drinking, Ryan?
Oh, well, I was about to get to that, but thank you. I was going to ask you, have you guys ever given something up for an extended period of time? When you felt that you had a bit of too much of a reliance on it? Could be anything. Burgers, beers.
Cardio. I've given up cardio for a significant amount of time.
I had a very unhealthy relationship with cardio, so I decided to stop.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I ever have, to be honest. No.
Really? Never? You've never gone, nah, I need to stop doing that.
Well, like, usually it gets to like too bad. So every now and then I'll get on to having too many coffees, which you'll probably allude to. But then I've kind of gone, okay, I've had like a lot this week, then I'll just back off the following week. I haven't gone months on end of caffeine abuse and then gone, shit, I need to rein it back a little bit.
You're a mad dog. Simon?
Probably only alcohol in preparation for competitions. So like 6 months, no alcohol. That's probably been it.
Yeah, they're the good ones, aren't they? I remember doing those. They're not very fun at all. And Jules, what about you, mate? Calf races.
No, I don't think I have actually. No, I've never given up anything for a significant amount of time. I don't.
Well, I am. I'm giving up. I'm reducing my. I'm not giving up on coffee because that's stupid. But I'm reducing my caffeine intake this week. This is why I've got my mate Johnny, the saviour of the world. If we had him in the recent World Cup, we wouldn't have lost in the final, but that's okay. And he's He's normally got coffee in him, but at the moment he's got peppermint tea. Yeah, so I'm just trying to reduce my caffeine because when you can't get out of bed without crawling your way to a kettle to get some caffeine into you probably got a little bit of an issue.
Put it in reverse. You say crawling your way to a kettle.
Yeah.
Insinuating that you're drinking instant coffee.
No, I have pour over. I'm sophisticated.
Okay, that's right.
I don't.
Sorry, I was worried.
I don't have.
For a second there.
I don't have that. But this is something that a lot of people have to deal with, and it's not the topic for today, but I feel like it's a topical discussion. So there's a lot of things that a lot of people have to do, and like, especially with us with clients, reducing, not necessarily getting rid of, sometimes it's a get rid of situation, but reducing certain things can definitely really help with them getting back on track with their results and stuff like that. This kind of fought into my brain cell, came from the Mind Pump podcast this weekend, where they were talking about if you kind of got something that you kind of rely on too much, you probably need to have a look at why you need it. So, guys, with your clients, have you ever had had a tough conversation with guys?
Yeah, I've had one that springs to mind. There was a client of mine that he worked, I guess, like what you would call odd hours. And that led to a lot of like finishing later than usual and driving home. And there was a bit of drive-through action going on. So, it wasn't an addiction, but we had to put like sort of, it was just a matter of putting protocols in place so that he, had bailouts if he had to stay late at work, and there was other alternatives and sort of better structures in place where he didn't have to bang through a drive-through on the way home. And that wasn't a particularly difficult thing to do, but sometimes just putting a bit of thought and planning into it goes a long way. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap of taking the easy way out of when you don't have a whole lot of time to prepare a meal.
That's actually a really good one. Well done, Jules.
No, the process, if you're curious, was there's like pre-packaged, they're not ideal, but they're like pre-packaged, like sort of health food. There's a few different brands like Core and Fitness Outcomes and things like that. And while they're not perfect, they're sort of, at least they're full of protein and not shit. So having a few of those in the freezer at all times, in case you're running late, and you can just go home, chuck one in the microwave, and that's it. End of story.
Nice. Simon?
No, I don't think I've ever had these sorts of conversations with my clients. Probably should, but most of them are, too busy with families, so don't have the time to really sit down and do it.
Why don't you get them to give up their families?
That would be Simon's solution as well. Would be give up your family.
Yeah, go stay a week somewhere and leave the kids at home. Well, I'm doing in a couple of weeks.
Parenting 101 with Simon.
Yeah. Give up this thing that you brought into the world, just leave it, and it will look after itself for an extended period of time. And as you come back, it will either have died or it will got better.
Kill or be killed, baby.
What?
I said kill or be killed.
Oh, I thought you said I killed a baby. I was like, excuse me?
That's a different podcast I do.
All right, excellent. Well, I thought it was quite something that quite comes to mind because, like, few guys with the members at the gym I've had conversations with about, certain things, not necessarily like more around building better habits around their lives so they don't have to be relying on the lazy options is exactly what Jules said. I think it's really important. Talking about members at the gym, new programs are up. And next week, we're going to have some overhead pressing as the main lift. How exciting, guys.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah.
How exciting. From all of us excellent overhead presses that we have here, a few tips. Simon, what would your main tips for the overhead press be?
Oh, we're talking about tips or whether we believe them?
Well, you can talk about whatever you like about the overhead press.
Well, I guess it's taken us a long time to actually implement it with our members because they've got to earn the right to do it.
Exactly right.
Yeah, so I guess we'll give it a go and see how they go with the barbell. Otherwise, we'll have to regress them back a little bit and build them back up. That's probably about it.
And why has it taken so long for us to make like why do you think it's the earn the right rather than they can just smash out overhead press?
It's not a necessary exercise. Unless it's for your sport or life or job.
But big shoulders is necessary.
Boulders.
Yeah, but you can get them other ways.
Exactly right.
Many roads lead to Rome.
Yeah, I've also been not the massive.
Not the best way to do an overhead press, is it? Unless you can actually do it.
What was that?
A straight barbell is not the best way to do it unless you can actually have the functional movement to press above your head and not hurt yourself.
Not always, no. Exactly. So, like, exactly what Simon's been saying. Like, there's been a lot. We haven't really put an overhead press in as a main lift for a long time. I think probably it may have only creeped in once before. And the reason we do that, especially with the barbell, is if they don't have the correct shoulder mechanics to get into the position to perform an overhead press, they're generally going to do a lot more harm than good. Also, some people may have impingements and stuff like that in the shoulder capsule itself that is going to make them not able to overhead press. So for any of our members that are watching this and get to the overhead press with the barbell and get a pinching feeling or something like that in their shoulders, please let us know because we can easily change it out for something else. Jules, you've got a meaty bit of shoulder meat there. Tell us your good tips for your overhead press.
Alrighty. I got a couple. I have always overhead pressed because I think it was just like in all the programs that I used to do, it usually reared its head in there. While I do agree with Simon that, and Adam that many roads lead to Rome, so it's not vital. But I'm glad it's in there because it's something different and it's something fun to coach and get people into. So my tips would be, first and foremost, what I think most people do is that if you picture a bench press, right, the wider your hands, especially if you watch the pros do it, the wider your hands are, the less the bar has to travel off your trunk. So a lot of people go wider in order to complete the lift with heavier weight. And people try and do the same thing with an overhead press. So obviously if your hands are real wide, the bar doesn't have to move that far. If they're closer, there's a lot more range. But the wider you go, you sort of take some of the muscles that assist, you sort of take them out of the picture, especially your lats. And when we were talking about moment arms before, I'll let Ryan elaborate, but it just goes too far from your center of mass. The T Nation website, which has its ups and downs sometimes, some of their tips are weird, but they talk about, I'll find it. What do they call it? The interesting way of wording it. The pillar of power. So it's an imaginary column that runs in a straight line from your feet all the way to the ceiling. And the further away you get from it, the less power you can produce. So that would be one of my tips, is play with your hand position a little bit. If you're finding it hard to move weight that you feel like you should be able to move safely, bring your hands in if you feel like they're wide. And the second tip that I would advise is be careful what you do with your head. So a lot of people, obviously when you overhead press, your head's sort of in the way a little bit. And a lot of people will do weird things to get their head out of the way, whether it be leaning right back or looking at the sky or weird things like that. You always want the bar to move in a straight path. I'll use this as an example. This is a STM magazine. This is a prop. If that's the bar, right? If your head is in the way, the bar has to do a little weird half loop. Can you see that, or am I glitching out?
No, you're good.
Yeah, so the bar has to move in a weird loop. So if you can retract your head and keep it straight and get it out of the way, you can go up in a straight line, which brings me to the third point. Make sure you have the mobility to get in the proper position to press. And if you don't, then the overhead press is not for you. And it's as simple as that, because if your shoulders can't get into the right spot to do the lift properly, you're just going to get injured. And you'll get injured pretty quick too, because overhead press can be a little bit risky at times if you don't do it properly, which is why we're around for the club sessions.
Nice. Well, great tips there. Well done, Jules.
My big three. Thank you.
Could always trust you to pull out some good tips for the overhead press, bench,
props,
some other stuff. You know, anything that's very bro-y, that's very good. Adam, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I reckon Jules and Simon have been spot on so far. In terms of like what you were saying about head position, a good cue that I think always helps is pulling your head through the window. So obviously with a barbell, you have to kind of move your body around the bar for it to work. So a lot of people do move their head out of the way initially, and then as they press, they kind of keep it back. So that leads to a more likely to end up with like an arch in your lower back. So you end up with a lot of strain through your lower back. A good way to pull your head through as if you were kind of looking through a window. So you imagine like you're pulling your head through that window. So as you press up and you lock out at the top, then you can keep your spine in like a nice straight position. So I reckon that's a good tip that I like to use, or cue that I like to use for people in terms of that head position. And obviously, as we've touched on, if you don't have good overhead mobility, you shouldn't be overhead pressing. So you can look at things like a landmine press is like a good variation to build. Like if your goal is to build strength in that shoulder, pressing in a somewhat overhead position while you work on getting that overhead mobility. So with the landmine, you're pressing more on like that 45, or depending on how you position yourself, angle. So it's not going to challenge that overhead position quite as much, but you'll still be getting some strength work through there, I guess. And then just like accessory movements as well. Just like any other main lift, there's going to be like other lifts, like working on your triceps and other stabilizing muscles will always help increase the amount of weight that you can lift.
Nice. All I was going to say, apart from the stuff that we've already covered, was stay tight for your lower body, brace for your core, and press as hard as you can. That's about it. If you can kind of do it, people get very loose and goosey when they go overhead and they flop around. They let stuff flop around and move around like weirdos. So don't let yourself lean back too far. Keep yourself in a nice. That pillar of strength is like quite a cool way of thinking about it. Make sure you are like a pillar and you're moving around it. So you're allowing your shoulders and your arms to do the work without having to compensate for everything else moving out of position for you.
It's kind of it can be a different one. Getting tension through your lower body when you're overhead pressing can feel weird for some people. And you say it actually goes with most. Like it goes for the bench press too. A lot of people bench press without their legs, and they could be so much better if they could get that tension radiating through more of the body. And it's with the overhead press as well. You see a lot of people like kind of muscle it up, which is like good for you if you can do it, but it's very inefficient. So I agree with that tip.
Yeah, and with those great tips, Adam, what's your movie tip this week?
My movie tip, I watched Shutter Island.
Oh,
So,
have you already watched that?
yeah, ages ago. My brother wanted to watch it, so I watched it with him.
I'm pretty sure you've already done a movie review on Shutter Island.
No, that was Inception.
Oh, that's right. And then we mentioned Shutter Island. Yeah, so how did Shutter Island go?
Yeah, really good. Like watching it, I hadn't watched it for ages, so I kind of forgot what it was about. But there's heaps of plot twists within it. And you really get that in, what was the guy's name? Teddy, I think that was Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever his character's name was. You really get put in his shoes, and then with all the plot twists and stuff, you kind of end up it's like really like a bit of a mind fuck, really. It kind of makes you question your own sanity by the end of it. But the acting's really good, and just like Inception, it's not like something you can just kind of have on in the background. Like you really need to sit down and pay attention, otherwise you miss a lot of it. So if you are planning to watch it, like don't be
Serious technical
watching it.
Yeah, Adam's having technical issues.
Yeah. It's a hectic movie. That's all I remember. I just remember being really confused the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Ties it in at the end.
probably you want to watch it once and then rewatch it and kind of figuring out what's going on, and probably watch it without your phone next to you, texting away. But I think it was good. I can't remember. It's been a lot. I might have to go check that one out and rewatch it. What did you give it? What's the hops?
I can't remember. What did I give Inception? Did I give Inception 5 out of 5?
I think so.
Could have done. Was it better or worse than Inception?
Oh. Oh no, they're like the same but different. I reckon I'd give it the same rating as Inception. I think I gave Inception 5. Like I really liked Inception. I'll give this one 5 as well. I really like this one.
Yeah, nice. Jules, how's sport?
Sport's good. We're into the sport. All right. We'll start with UFC on the weekend. So of the fights that mattered on the main card, Johnny Walker is a Brazilian dude that renamed himself Johnny Walker. But where'd my results go?
Is he sponsored by Johnny Walker?
No. He knocked out a dude called Ryan Spann. It's a fairly entertaining fight, actually. Johnny Walker got dropped twice and then knocked out his opponent all in the space of 2 minutes 40, which was electric. And then the Russian man, Kazmat Chimiev, he knocked out his opponent in 17 seconds. It was a very quick knockout. It was the first punch thrown of the fight. Very nice power output early from the Russian. Donald Cerrone and Nico Price went to a draw, which is very rare in the UFC. And then Colby Covington, the very controversial Colby Covington.
How does a draw happen?
So it went to the judges' scorecards, and it was a majority draw. So one of the judges had it for Cowboy Cerrone, and then two of the other judges scored it as a draw. And then thus it was a majority draw.
That's hectic. I didn't know that was
one of the guys, he eye-poked Nico Price eye-poked Cowboy Cerrone twice during the fight, so he got a point deducted. So he cost himself the fight because with that point on both those scorecards, he would have won. And then the very controversial Colby Covington defeated Tyron Woodley, dominated Tyron Woodley. Have you guys heard of Colby Covington?
Now, why is he controversial?
He's like a MAGA, like Make America Great Again, Donald Trump advocate. He's very loud about it. It was quite entertaining. Whether you like him or not, he's great for the sport. People want to watch when he fights. So I'm surprised you guys didn't hear what happened on the post-show fight interview. While he was talking, like they crossed to the desk and he's talking to the desk, and he got a phone call from Donald Trump, and he answered it on speakerphone, and it was just Trump congratulating him on winning the fight, and it was all very strange. It was the real Donald Trump, so quite interesting.
How weird.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous that Trump would say something really stupid because he didn't know he was on speaker, but he didn't. So that was that. Entertaining stuff. That was the UFC. This weekend, there's another massive card, but I'll cover that next week. In soccer culture, as my Italian brethren would say, Arsenal pumped Fulham. Crystal Palace beat Southampton. Liverpool beat Leeds. Newcastle beat West Ham. Leicester dominated West Brom. Everton beat Tottenham. Are you an Everton man, Ryan? Or are you Chelsea?
Chelsea.
Oh, too much blue. Well, speaking of Chelsea, they beat Brighton 3-1.
That's lucky.
Everton flogged West Brom 5-2 on Saturday. Jeez, that's a big win.
5-2.
Yeah, that's a lot of goals. A lot of goals.
So far this season.
What was that?
There's been a lot of goals in the first few rounds.
Yeah, that looks like it. Leicester beat Burnley 4-2. Liverpool beat Chelsea 2-0 yesterday. Sorry about that, Ryan. And you got a red card.
Have they been good games though, Simon? Like, if there's because some people get confused with goals being scored with good games. Do you think they've been better games?
I haven't really seen the highlights to be honest, but some games have been good.
Or they've just been very gold rushy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get games that are 6-4 and they're not very good. There's just a lot of goals in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen many of the highlights, to be honest.
There's still no fans in attendance?
No, they're off to a shocker. They lost their first game.
Oh dear. And then Man
United
United
did.
Man United
no.
play Brighton on Saturday, which is my birthday, if you're curious. Yeah, I know, you wouldn't read about it. The NFL was back. Does anyone here like NFL?
Nah.
No, I don't really care either. But teams won and some teams lost. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm looking for the notable results, but it's nothing really notable in here. So who cares? If you guys want to hear NFL results, ask and I can do them. Otherwise, we'll just give it a miss. Basketball, conference finals. The Heat beat the Celtics. Adam, what's going on? Real trouble in Boston.
Well, they've played 3 games now. So the Heat won the first 2.
Yes, I see that on my results. And then the next game is on Thursday, if I'm informed correctly.
Yes, the Celtics won yesterday. They got up with like a reasonable lead of like 15 to 20 in both the games. Or in all 3 games, they've had leads. The first 2, they blew the lead and then ended up losing. And then the last one, the game like yesterday, it looked like they were going to do the same thing. They were up by 20, and then it came back to within 5 points, like in the last few minutes. I was like, they're not going to do it again, are they? But they managed to hold on, get the W, so hopefully
Bit of a choking hazard.
Yeah, get up on Thursday.
So, Celtics play on Thursday. Lakers play the Nuggets. Lakers lead that series 2-0. And then those games just keep repeating because we're in the playoffs. So I'll get back to you. But who do you reckon the Celtics are going to take the series, or are they cooked?
No, they're not cooked yet. If they get down the next game, they could be. If they win the next one, it'll be 2-2, and then it'll be a good series. The Lakers Nuggets, I was watching that this morning, and Anthony Davis hit an absolute ripper of a game winner on the buzzer.
I'm surprised how often that happens in basketball. Hey, I feel like there's the buzzer beater like every game. It's crazy.
Yeah, especially once we get to playoffs, obviously all the teams are
good. Yeah.
There's a close.
Alrighty. Yes. And to finish, footy. The Eagles were very unimpressive against North Melbourne, but they did get the win. So that means they are, I'll discuss this in a second. St Kilda beat GWS, locked up their final spot. It was actually an interesting round of footy because the season was condensed. There was a lot of teams on the same points. So this season decided who was going to play finals. St Kilda beat GWS, so GWS can't play finals. St Kilda will finish in the 8th.
How was that for the team that were in the grand final last year?
It's not good. And it's happened a couple of times in the last few years. Very poor performances. So that's not good. Melbourne beat Essendon, which put them into the 8 momentarily. Richmond beat Adelaide, so Richmond will play finals. Brisbane beat Carlton, so Brisbane will play finals. Brisbane will finish in the top 4, so they get the double chance. The Hawks beat the Gold Coast, which meant nothing. Both teams aren't playing finals. Geelong just held on to beat Sydney, which locked them up a top 4 spot. And you know what's special about that?
It knocked the Eagles out, top 4?
It knocked the Eagles out of the top 4. So the Eagles don't get the double chance. Geelong do. You love to see it. And then I mentioned before that Melbourne went into the 8 after they beat Essendon. Well, the Dockers lost to the Bulldogs, meaning the Bulldogs got the extra points and went into 8th position, knocking the Demons out, which was a prophecy from Julian Ward, myself, because I put the cooked stamp on the Demons. They clawed their way back into 8th, and then they didn't finish 8th because the Dockers lost. I'll have you guys note just quickly to all the fans out there, not one team I put my cooked stamp on ended up playing finals. So really, really solid cooked stamping from myself. I batted 1,000. I got every single one right. First week of finals next week? No. This week's the week off, and then they play finals the week after. So it's exciting stuff. And then there was the footy tradition. A fair few people retired, which is good stuff. One of the things I like about footy is when games don't matter, the players start to have a little bit of fun. And it happened on the weekend when Hawthorn played Gold Coast. Hawthorn had 2 players retiring, including the captain, who's a fullback. So he's played 240 games and he's kicked 1 goal for his whole career. And for the last quarter, they put him at full forward and tried to get him a goal in his last game. And he did. And then the whole team got around him. So interesting stuff. You love to see it.
Oh, that nice.
It was a nice little moment. And then Carlton did the same thing. They gave Cade Simpson a goal in his last game. So good on him, I say. And also, who gives a shit about Carlton because they robbed the Dockers?
All right. Has anyone figured out my riddle yet?
No.
I think telephone pole is a good guess, actually.
The Eiffel Tower.
No. Lord of the Rings.
Does it have something to do with Lord of the Rings, or was it just a
It
riddle?
has nothing to do with Lord of the Rings. It's just an old riddle.
Okay.
We have a clue.
It's nature.
So it's an
Has
actual
roots
thing.
that
in
nobody can see.
Can you,
Roots that nobody can see. It grows taller than trees. And the last bit was...
How's nature grow taller than trees?
It has no roots that nobody sees. Taller than trees.
See anything underground?
And yet never grows. So it never grows, taller than trees, in nature.
Or
the whole Earth? Like,
No,
Global population density. It has
trees
family
grow on these sometimes, but they can't grow very high up the top because trees don't grow that high.
mountains.
Yeah, a mountain. It's a mountain.
Yeah.
You have the roots of a root of a mountain. It's taller than a tree, and it
But
never
that's
grows.
wrong. It does grow, though.
It doesn't fucking grow.
How did it get there in the first place, Ryan?
Tectonic plates crashing together
God
is not
put it
something
there, Adam.
growing. That is not growth. That is just two things coming together really
What is-
hard
what is
and
the
it going in the
definition of
opposite direction.
growth?
I tell you right now, it's not going to be. You're not going to beat this one.
No.
Oh dear.
I mean, I still got it.
Yeah, Adam wins.
Growth definition. The process of increasing in size. So it increases in size. Therefore, it is growing.
I'm growing year round, baby.
All right, we're googling it. Here we go.
I'm Googling, do mountains grow? Mountains grow when movements of it. See? It used it. Science Daily says mountains grow. So your riddle is wrong.
I think Simon died.
Simon just doesn't care.
Well, all right, fair enough. Well, you wouldn't really think mountains grow, but you know, technicals.
Well,
All right, let's-
Schmeagol said it, so.
Yeah, it's from Lord of the Rings. Get over it. It's the best riddle of all time. All right, thanks for tuning in this time, and we'll catch you next week, maybe. Bye-bye.
Ciao.